How's it going, people? Welcome back to my channel. Look what I brought along once again.
Love for having me, my dude. Come on, man.
Obviously, this was meant to be a bit more regular, but we are trying.
We're trying, man.
We are
People
trying,
got lives to live. Not even lives to live. Like, if you don't pay my bills and you pay his bills, then we can fuck about and do this every day.
Every day.
But we're dealing with a lot of stuff. Like,
trust me, we've got work tomorrow.
I like. Today, exactly. Work the next day, Arsenal being shit. He's got his own personal shit. I've got mine.
4-hour drive to Everton on the weekend.
Exactly.
4-hour drive back. Like, it's all mad, man. You lot tell me when I can find the time.
He can find the only thing I can't agree with him on is that Everton away, because I'm not going. Like, you're moving mad. I'm not going.
Listen, people want me to support Arteta. I'm going to support Arteta. If he is the man to take charge, innit? And obviously that is the kind of main story around Arsenal right now. So me and Deluded have asked Twitter for some questions. I picked out a few here, 3 or 4, so we'll see, determining the time. I want this to be about 15-20 minutes. We'll see how many we can get through, and obviously the hot topic is Arteta. I'll pick that one question on Arteta in particular, from man like Big Garv. Obviously he's been following man for time as well, always supported the team, and he's asked, how long would you give Arteta to settle? Would you give him time if the team's bad form continued, or will he get a blind because he's inherited these problems?
Difficult one, because it kind of takes me back to Emery. Now, for me, there's not, realistically, he steps in tomorrow. There's not much a man can do. Realistically, until the end of the season, it's not a free hit, but it's a free hit. My free hits being, okay, cool, the personnel is not there, but what are you showing me? Like, are we improving a bit defensively? A little improvement, being switched on, transitioning and all these things. Like I was requesting with Emery, like, then I'll give you like a sort of time period towards that. There isn't much he can do with these playing stuff. Like with these current employers that we've got, players, with you hear we ain't got money to spend in January, bro. So what is he gonna do? Like, we spoke in another video about centre halves. Like, I think he can get us a bit more switched on and proactive to defending, but we're gonna hit a glass ceiling because some man are not good enough. So it's as much as he wants to make it. Like, it's for me, I'm gonna judge it on medium, short and long term. From now until May, it's just about, I want to see what you're trying to do. Like, what's your clear philosophy? How you, like, do you get it? Any mistakes you want to make now, because he's a novice, make them. Next season, assuming the spine of this side is addressed and he has something to work with in August, then of course, defensively, all of these things. And if he fails to do that, then you've got to clip him at the first hurdle, like where it looks really unconvincing. I don't want to be here with Emery again, because I feel there was many sides for Emery. I feel me and you, we had our question marks over Emery from the beginning, but we praised and critiqued fairly. Us and these lot watching, they're an anomaly. I think you had certain people with agenda so happy that Wenger effed off, that anything Emery was doing was amazing. Certain people wanted Wenger to stay, and they kind of thought, do you know what? And nothing Emery does, I'll be happy with. When in truth, it's in the middle, because like we spoke about, 22 unbeaten run. There was times where we're playing shit and we're getting away with it. And a couple of times that's good, bro. Like, you can say it shows a good team and spirit. And there's some days you're not at it, but too often than not, we were relying on second half substitutions and things. And it took me a while to clock, like, Emery, I like you, but if you keep changing what you're doing,
what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on from the start? Like, what are you doing?
Obviously, my thing was the imbalance in the squad the first season. I give him the benefit of the doubt. And what I want to say is, I agree with most of what you said, but the quality of the players let down Emery in terms of the way he wanted to play.
Yeah, so especially United away from home.
Yeah, because he started both seasons trying to play at the back predominantly. He wants to play out the back to the full-backs, through the defence to the midfield.
And have the wing-backs.
But the players don't have that quality, and it's been evident. So obviously we've judged him on that. But at the same time, can we judge the next manager without looking at Kroenke or Raul and Vin?
Oh, no. That's one thing. Now, of course, like you just said with the Kroenkes, like, whether it's an experienced manager, Arteta, that's another thing. But the board have to back someone. If not transfers, like, you get it, like, all aspects of the club, they need to back him. To be honest, the manager is somewhat insignificant when we've got too much uncertainties over the board. For me, with Emery, I don't know, because I agree with what you said, but I feel if you asked him why it kind of went wrong, I feel he probably listened to too many voices. I feel you would second guess yourself and have to reinvent yourself. I think I think he failed to do that, really. And I think he just really lacked any clarity of the mind. And even the playing out from the back thing, quickly we were playing out from the back, even a positive stubbornness to that. So it's like, people say your communication was poor and all these things, but you was able to communicate that. So like what going for the midfield and like it was never healthy. Like it's nice seeing that we're changing the lineups and stuff, games to game, but it's never healthy. There was a point, 7 games, 7 different lineups. It's like for me, I never saw any principle with Emre. So like at that time, I still agree with what you said. I was supporting that. It's like the best of a bad bunch. There's been times he set us up superbly, but it's like at that period, I'm still looking. I'm like, okay, what are you trying to do? Okay, let's learn from this mistakes. 4 months into it, what are you doing now? Then 8 months or so, I'm looking at it a bit. And then this season is really where, for me, it's no blies. Like, I'm not expecting you to make us world leaders and things, but
we need to be well oiled.
Like clear philosophy. Like, and then you're seeing pre-season.
We didn't get that.
Exactly, we were on a joke thing. So it's like you kind of. Can we really be surprised? Because in hindsight, pre-season was a mess. I wasn't seeing. He did have injuries, but I wasn't really seeing that you're anything to say when Holding and Tierney and these guys come back, we're going to defend well because we're a bit more proactive in this sense. If I saw half of this, then Emery would still be in a job right now, or I'd be calling for him to still be in a job at least. But I just felt, it's like when you know yourself, when football's going well.
At the first hurdle if it's not going well.
It all like for me, it's about philosophy, bro. Like if I'm seeing what you're trying to do, and I can honestly sit here and say, alright, cool. If we get X, Y, Z player or better players or a bit of time, then cool. But I don't want to give man time for the sake of it. I don't want us to become a firing club. But what we don't want to do, like we did with Emre, is wait and see. It's like it took a while for not the fans, but it took the board really stick or twist. Yeah, we heard that they decided a month ago he's gone, but it seemed like they're kind of delaying the inevitable and prolonging it. So it's like, for me, it's like what you said with the board. You have to back a man, because if they back a man, there's no reason this can't be a success.
So it comes along with that. I get that. If they back him and he doesn't work out the first hurdle, cool. But if they don't back him
at all, that's what I'm with.
I can't focus on the manager. I have to focus on the board.
That's
still
100.
Because they're running out of time.
100.
Well, obviously, Arteta's time looks like it's just starting. They are running out of time. So this is a big decision for them. If they're bringing in Arteta, apparently we're talking to other Man City coaching staff and Wolves ex-coaching staff or something, we're sorting out a team now, then this has to be it. It has to get it right now. You have to get it right, fam. Like, I blame you for the past 10 years, let alone Emery.
Yeah.
To get me. So for me, it's not about, obviously to answer Garth's question, it's not about how much time does Arteta have, it's about how much time does the Kroenkes have. That's how I see it. If it does, I say when because I'm so used to it going pear-shaped, but if it does go pear-shaped, then it's them, innit? Then it's them. I can't lie to you. The focus will be on them. To get me.
For me, it's like if we're dealing purely with just the variable of Arteta. For me, it's like I just need to see clear philosophy, like clearly what you're trying to do from day one. I don't want to do this Emery thing where it's 4 at the back, 3 at the back. Don't get me wrong. Isolate incidences. I'm fully on that. That's one thing I like about Emery. But you can't you need your own identity. I'm not on making games harder than it has to be. So if I see what he's on, then cool. But like you said, it all comes down to the board. Literally, you could have Lionel Messi in this Arsenal team. The board are not going to back the club and introduce a centre half, so we wouldn't be able to do anything. It's a myth. It'll be a myth.
And to be honest, let's move on to the next question because it kind of rolls onto it. Rookie Johnson says Kroenke won't sell anytime soon, and money will be tight as long as he is owner. How do you guys feel about a long-term plan with a young coach who gets rid of all the divas in the team and builds a young team? How important is short-term success? And I think that's what you're saying about, obviously, Arteta's a young coach. If he brings in a philosophy, if he brings in a style of play, how important is short-term success? Who knows with the board again, which I'll touch on in a minute, but I think that...
No, I just hit how important is long-term success, because I say that sounds like a stupid question, but do you remember how many years Arsenal were developing players and it seemed like when they finally got there and we should really have a platform, they bust out Van Persie. Van Persie always had talent. The minute he really became a player, shortly after, he went to that. So it's a lie. So it's the board. We've got Saka, Martinelli, all these other young players, but what's the point developing them if this team is gonna get broken up, or these players become disillusioned because they're like, this is dead. Like, what am I here for right now?
Me, because my thing is, we need a manager now that's gonna bring us back to what we started hating Wenger for: consistent top 4 finishes. And I say that because that's when we'll realise Kroenke is not fully backing this side. So if we bring in a young coach, like Arteta and he does well, I see a style of play, you see that he's a leader, you see that he's sorted out the squad, then cool. Obviously, I'm supportive of the next manager, whoever it is. I can't lie. Obviously, the man that's managing the side, I'm going to be supportive. Even Emery, I supported him till
it became
till
obvious.
Poch was available.
Yeah,
that's the day I said, you know what, maybe he should go.
Even when Emery was still in the position, we still supported him, but he just needed to step down. You're still Arsenal manager. I'm not going to wish nothing bad on you, but you needed to step down.
Things were going.
Yeah, like it's you can't. You have to call spades a spade, and I think we see it ourselves because we're in YouTube. I think football fans, they don't like being wrong. That you're not allowed to change your opinion. Speaking agenda, so some man had to ride with Emery for the sake of riding with man, even though they don't believe that. And equally, some man had to hate him when, again, like you said in the beginning, it's in the middle, bro.
Yeah,
like it's
really and truly, like us as Arsenal fans, we've got to open our eyes and say, in reality, Emery wasn't supported enough as he possibly should have been post Wenger and post saving up for 10 years.
Yeah. As poor as he wasn't backed, and it's like we probably are gonna become a Tottenham Hotspur. Like I hope that it sounds bad now. I don't hope we become Spurs, but what I mean in that we get consistent top four again, and like you said with Kroenke, people might see that it's a glass ceiling again. It's like we're not trying to go forward.
They're gonna look at it like if we get
they'll relish that.
Be happy. It's gonna be like so. Obviously that question of how important short term success, it could be the end of us completely, short-term success.
Yeah.
Because if we start getting top four within the next 2 years and the Kroenkes look at it like, actually, we're all right again. Like, we don't really need to do
and then we start.
And then you start. So it'll just be a cycle until they really do sell up. So short-term success can be good, but it can also come back to bite us with our owners right now.
Again, the main factor of the question is actually not the answer, it's just the board. If the board are really on something short-term, medium and long-term, then we can do great things. But the board and the owners, do they want to win? Football fans, we need to stop looking at it as football fans. These lot just care about numbers. If they get top four, they're content. They're like, boy, it's not top four anymore, it's top six. And we got top four, so we're good again. Arsenal ain't done that for years. Do you think they would be, okay, do you think they would sit there and say, okay, let's get top four again this year, so it's consistency, and then boom, let's go for nothing less than third minimum, but really, we want to push the league champions as far as we can. We know we can't win it, but spirit and all of these sort of things, just trying to be better. Like, Liverpool probably didn't believe a couple of years ago they'll win the league, and then they pushed City, and obviously, certain things made the difference, because is that side dramatically better? Who did Liverpool sign in the summer, really? Yeah, like, who? No one. It's the same thing. It's
I
like,
actually don't think they signed it.
Who did they sign? Like, no key player like that. Everyone was there already.
They didn't improve their first team squad.
Yeah, and that's pure desire, because the difference with them, you can genuinely tell in May or whatever, last season, that pain of missing out top four, dropping all them points, that shit hurt.
With the Champions League, it still hurt.
Yeah, it hurt, and they wanted to learn from their mistakes and use that to fuel them.
100%.
We get deja vu, and then it's like, woe is me.
That's the mentality of the men playing for Liverpool.
Literally.
Of the men playing for City.
Culture of the whole club.
All these teams winning stuff. They are men with a strong mental capacity.
From the board to the playing members to the medical guys and all these things, Arsenal are scared. Like, do you know when I really realised Arsenal isn't the place to be, bro? When Ox moved to Liverpool, and I say that because right now there's a clear landslide between the two teams, but nobody, if we're all real, there was, at the time, it was probably defined as a sideways move. It weren't a madness. Clearly, but unbeknown to us, Ox was told, listen, we're doing something magical. Like, you think we're gassing, this is what we're going to do. Yeah, and he bought into it.
Justified.
Literally, Arsenal fans were looking like, oh, you said you want to be a centre mid. You've gone Liverpool. You're never going to play. You're playing here. You're playing there. And I get that. But he's going for trophies. Yeah. He's feeling like a winner. He's at a team that wants to go somewhere.
And he plays.
And he's at and even people saying he's not playing, it's a competitive side. If you do your thing, you will play. Like Ronaldo plays because he does his thing.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a time Fabinho weren't really playing like that.
Now he's in Keita, saying it in and out. Do you get me? All of them have their pros, all of them have their cons.
Like,
and Klopp knows how to balance
it. And Liverpool fans are laughing because how do you improve that side? You probably find another little Coutinho sort of guy. Probably ain't got that.
Yeah, that's about it. That Asian guy from Salzburg.
Yeah, he looks decent. I don't remember his name.
That might be the guy, man.
Even that. And what? Dave Smith, that's how you know. Now, I'm happy you said that because what? He's going for like 77 mil or something?
Yeah, 7 mil.
He had 7 mil for him. He had 75 on Van Dijk. That brings the point I always say in all my vids. I don't care if a man costs £2 or 2 million. If you do your due diligence, scout and they fit in with what you're trying to do.
Because Shaqiri was 12 mil.
This is what I'm saying.
So it kind of balances out.
And they're going to make a 20 on him or something.
30, 30 on Shaqiri. You make some peas back. To get me.
And even us, like going back to that question about the youth players and that, it's like you look at Chelsea's youth and ours. Obviously, we ain't got as much experience, but if they ever sold Tammy, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, all these academy players, they're bringing in over 100 million. So it's like we should be trying to self-fund our own money if we ain't got money, or we should have a strategy. Do we want young players? Do we want experienced players? Do we want a bit of both? Okay, we can't spend 50 on a player. Let's do our due diligence and try it. I don't know, go Germany or France. Or because even guys like Sagna, when we found a little Sagna, you can't find guys like that anymore.
That again, you lead me on to the next one, and this one's a good one for you because you like watching youth, you like watching the youngsters around Europe.
He's gonna put me on the spot.
No, not even. It's not. It's, you know what, Mr. DJ, expat Guna, obviously he's a big supporter.
Shout to you, man.
Big supporter.
Big supporter of both, man. So, your name is synonymous now.
Trust me. He what he asked is, can either of you pinpoint why a club the size of Arsenal has failed to produce more than one defender of note from within the ranks of Coney in the past 20 years that have made the first team and played regularly other than Ashley Cole, and yet we continually have rubbish defenders? He's right though, because when he puts it out like that, I actually didn't clock it's been that long. That's our success rate in terms of bringing through young defenders. One in 20 years.
Boy, that's like... It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. A club like Arsenal, the last real centre-half was a certain Tony Adams, and we should be able to produce players like that.
That was 35 years ago.
Yeah, time ago. I'd say it's... How Arsenal have been in years in that we've had this, not necessarily small, but the technical sort of footballer. It's tend to more... Making it at Arsenal tends to lead, in my opinion, towards the more attackers, or we just have better quality attackers. I don't really think, seeing the academy and seeing the first team, I'm picking my words carefully, but I'd say there's not really a respect for defending or an emphasis on defending or a dying need to defend. Because you look at Zach Medley, I think we bought him from Chelsea. Allegedly, he's highly rated within the club. I don't think he's good enough, but I'll hold my hands up. He doesn't think like a defender first, bro. You can see why Arsenal like him, playing out from the back, bringing it up, all of that stuff. But being switched on, positioning, he's a duck out of water. And it's this sort of thing. It's like...
It catches us out.
It catches us out, bro. It's like, it don't make sense. And I think with the way football's going, it doesn't help us because... What? You mentioned Van Dijk. People won't mention that he's a good defender necessarily. It's ball playing. That's the first thing that's mentioned with defenders now. So it's illogical. But I'd say... We just don't... I don't say we don't respect defending, but I don't think there's as much emphasis on producing defenders, the defensive outlook on the game, more so than, Arsenal is beautiful, 10 passes and all of these things Wenger put into it. So I'd say that's specifically it. It's just not there. Like, I don't want to say the focus isn't there because it's unfair. I don't know what these coaching staff is doing.
Especially under Wenger.
Yeah.
And you're actually a Wenger fan, so that's probably something you can admit that he wasn't focused on.
He wasn't focused on defense.
Leaked into the.
It has leaked, of course.
That's going to be the first thing. Of course, the need back.
The need back, of course. Because if you look at it, I mean, he inherited a good defense. He kind of brought in a couple. Like he did rebuild it with Cole and so
he
and
did.
whatnot.
When people say he didn't,
it doesn't make sense. For once, but it's like, how far would he have been if he didn't have to bring them in because of the lack of defensive prospects? I just think it's that because obviously Bellerin came through, but even Bellerin is when you list his strengths, are you listing defensive traits first?
Yeah, it's true,
you're not.
True.
Obviously, he's a different one because with fullbacks in the modern game, to be fair to Bellerin, you're not necessarily mentioning defending for any of them, but you're not mentioning it for Bellerin. The one academy player that came through in Gibbs, was he actually a good defender or is he a steady Eddie? There was a gap there because I swear he was a centre mid and winger and all of these things. He saw an opportunity, credit to him, and he took it. But there's a reason he hasn't became the Ashley Cole heir to that, which Wenger famously once said, probably to gas him. There's a reason because he's not a good defender. Our outlook is in that defence. Like you look at Chelsea now, they're producing good defenders because as well as the technical game and the physical game, they understand that clean sheets and whatnot. And I do think. I don't know. I mean, I want to work for Arsenal's Academy one day, so don't watch this. But I'd say, I just think we're physically over the whole team. We ain't really got physical specimens around everywhere. We're not bullying and around. We're very nice. And again, I know you said I'm a Wenger fan, but it ties back into the Wenger thing about the beautifulness of the game and the technicality. I'd say we're more concerned with 200 passes and triangles than we are about keeping clean sheets, because you see it at all levels. That's it, really.
But there you go, obviously. This is you've heard it from Deluded. The headline for this video: Wenger is to blame for all these defenses.
This guy, 3 minutes.
No, joking. But obviously, I will wrap it up there because it's coming up to 20 minutes, taking 3 questions. Thanks for all the questions. There's a
It's
few
been
more.
appreciated, man.
I'll go on there and reply to them individually on Twitter anyway. If you haven't already, obviously subscribe to your channel.
Deluded Guna 04 and everything.
And we've done a video on his channel as well.
Yeah.
It should be out now. It should be out around the same time. I'm
So
not sure
yeah,
when this
just
is
go
coming
on,
out.
listen, just go on both.
Yeah,
Like, if you go on his,
that's
flick
it.
on mine, because once you finish banging out his vids, you're going to want to watch mine. You finish banging out mine, you're going to want to watch his. It should
And
just
he does a lot
complement.
more, so
Yeah.
in between my vids, go watch his vids.
Nah, but you got them talking points, man, and the thumbnails and
in
stuff.
between they have to fill it out with something, and rather than listen to the bullshit going around, they might as well listen to your channel.
Either way, just flicker between both, innit? Just get 2 what you do, get 2 tabs, Google Chrome or fucking Safari,
Wherever it
Turkish
is.
Guna, DG, pause one, watch the other, do what you need to do. It's that simple.
That's it, people. Alright then, love for all the support, feedback. Let us know
Means
in
a
the
lot.
comments what you thought of our answers. Obviously, a lot of talk around Arteta, Kroenke as usual, and the defence. That was a very good question at the end because it's something different. And it's something that I didn't actually clock before with the Ashley Cole thing. So love for that question, love for all the questions. Obviously subscribe both channels and love people. I'm out.